Ki whakahonore tātou kini Māori tū Aotearoa. Te whero te tuawhitu tēnā koe. Ko koe rā te taumato o te Matatini. Tēnā hoki koe te makau araki. Ata whai me tō mahi te taumato o te taikura o te papa. Me tō kōrua whare araki o ti rā te kāhui araki tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou ki tainui waka, koutou mai e pohiri mai te motu katoa. Anei ka noho kotahi ai tātou. Anei ko maumahana i te kōrero o mātou tūpuna a Uncle Bob. Ngāpō me tona hoa pīmia anei o mātu e oi. Maraua ke e kōrero he aharawa te kiko kei roto i te kupu kotahitanga. Anei ki te noho tahi, ki te kai tahi, ki te kōrero tahi. Ai, ko tēnei te whāriki waihutia mai taini mo tātou i tēnei wā. O reira, uri noa nei te mehi. E uri ana ki tō tātou tā. Tā heruini tāne kaha parata. Tō tātou tiamana, manutaki pau toko manoa, mai ki a mātou nei, he tohunga ia i roto i te ao kapa. Nō reira nei te mihi ati ki a koe te pāpā. Ki ngā mataura nui o te Matatini Aranga Life Members e noho mai. Aha ko etahi kore tae e tahara mai. Anei ko kiti ana ko tai mai etahi. Anei te mihi, anei te mihi. Uri no ki ngā memo o te puari, anei ngā māngai, ngā pautaka wainga, me ngā kaimahi i roto i tō tātou tari e noho, ke muri, anei te mihi atu ki a koutou. A huri noa, a kia ora mai no tātou. In 2016, Te Matatini embarked on a new journey. This created a significant shift from the organisation that produced and broadcasted a biannual festival into promoting what are the positive contributions kapa Haka makes to the social well-being of our people, our diverse communities. Before this job came along, I asked people, what's Te Matatini? Who are Te Matatini? And every answer come back, oh, they run a festival. They run a festival. Ka putu mai nei whakaro mai roto i te poari, me pēhia ngā mahi roto i te hauora. Me pēhia ngā mahi roto i te ao Mātauranga. He maha ngā mahi e mahi ana kei roto i te ao kapa. So in 2016, the board decided to take a new journey. We're not an event organisation. We're about the wellness of our people. There was 8 KRAs that the Rohe agreed with Te Matatini on what we should be doing. We took those KRAs and put it into a 10-year strategic plan, which we sat down with government and said, this is what Te Matatini does for mahi. Right from the word go, from the first festival in 1972, we received $5,000 to do our festival and to do all our mahi for the whole year. Te Matatini has scrimped and saved all the way through these years, trying to provide what we can. And I sat down with Papa Heroini the other day. He was telling me about in Gisborne, they were so poor that they had to build the stage out of a wool shed. And then when the festival was finished, they had to build their wool shed back again. That's how Matatini has survived. Matatini will never go away, because this is part and parcel of who we are. The pito whakarei, the wellness model. If you haven't had a chance to read this document, I urge you to, because this 10-year strategic plan is based on a wellness model of our people, and this is where the turn of Te Matatini came. How could we make the change and promote the wellness of our people to government? How could we do that? You know, for years, you hear, and every single person would have heard this in this house. Oh, you don't get as much as the symphony orchestra. Or you don't get as much as the ballet. Matatini, the poor cousin. You know, that was really tough for me to understand. I couldn't understand that. Because there's only one commonality between the Royal New Zealand Ballet and the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra and Te Matatini, is we all bring joy to people's lives. My grandfather's name was Te Koti Kātene Mai Te Ahuau. He said to me, when people are doing good, never say anything about them. You mahi your own mahi. With this concept in mind, it made sense that instead of kunoho umere ana, why don't we play the political game? Let's play this political game because we're pretty good at doing it on the marae. An evidence-based report to government on 4 research work streams. The positive contribution kapa haka makes to te reo Māori. Increased academic achievement levels of students who actively participate in kapa haka. Positive attributes to our Māori Health Index. And the fiscal contribution kapa haka makes to our national economy. Those 4 pillars. You know, we all got examples of that, and I'm going to use some of the personal ones myself here today, over the years. In 1969, I joined a group called Te Rōpū Manutaki. And that's where I first learned about kapa. My mum, Kirihitini, was in there, my sister Lynette was in there. We were whānau. In town, trying to find our Māori part where we played. Over that time, we sat down and went to practice. 1981 was my first national festival. Lead up to the festival was fantastic. We'll learn our waiata for a couple of hours and then we'll pop down the local and have a couple and then a couple more. Uncle Pete actually was really good. I learned how to drink wine with Aotearoa on the stage. She taught me all about Saturn from Henderson. Yeah, she did. And that's how it was. And we'll get the guitar and then we'll sing. We'll do our singing practice after a couple. We'll wake up late, have a late breakfast, have a 2-hour practice, and then we'll start again the next day. And that was fun. That was fun. That was, oh boy, I remember those days. They were really cool. Now you go to a wānanga, you go to a wānanga now, and with te rātou ko mutu te tangi o te pere, nā kōrero Māori kei roto i tēnei wānanga. Te katoa, tairua hoki ki te rātapu e kōrero Māori. Ko pai ana mō ngā taitamariki e puta mai te kohanga reo e te kura kaupapa Māori, sa ka noho au ka wahangu kei roto i te wakahua, hui e te wā. Wetahi o rātou, the cooks didn't have a job. The cooks stopped cooking in the end. There was no sausages, baked beans, eggs and bread. Yeah, because everyone's bringing their George Foreman fat-free cookers and everything else because you're on a keto diet or a grass diet, or some of them just didn't eat. Hey, the research here proved it. We got this report back, it's on our website. Read it, it's great reading. It says in there under Mātauranga, academic achievement levels of our students, our Māori students. There's 2,500 primary and intermediate schools. 2,000 schools have kapa haka teams. Out of all those kapa haka teams, 70% of those in there are our own Māori. Overall, they are the high-end achievers. And I remember Auntie June Mariu, Dame June Naini, was my Māori teacher. 2 Māori boys sitting in the back of the room, and Mr. Watson was there, and who's having trouble with your maths? I'm not going to put my hand up in front of a whole lot of Pākehās and say I can't count. Neither will my other mate, but after kapa haka practice at Rutherford High, just said that a bit louder because we took the cup off Queen Vic and St. Stephen's. Put your hand up. No, we're not going to put our hand up there, but after kapa haka practice, she'll say, who's having trouble? And then we'll put our hands up. He whānau kotahi our rōpū there, and they'll bring a tutor down to help our kapa haka team learn. Because the teachers bribed us then and they're still bribing our kids now. You don't get your grades up, you're not performing on that stage, doing your kapa haka. And good, I'm glad they're doing that. So comparisons of research, we've got that research, we've submitted that research to government, and that was the basis on our first budget bid that got so much support from our minister of that time, Penny Hina, and I saw him here, and anei te mehe tiki a koe, e te rangatira. The growth of kapa haka, you know, we take a trip down memory lane and we have a look at some of the past festivals that we've had, some of the awesome memories that we had. Hastings was one. Yeah, that was in 1983. Hey, everyone slept under the same roof, if you can remember that. It was a huge shed, a massive shed, and we all slept under the same roof. Ka noho tahi, ko moe tahi, ko kai tahi. Tani wharau was sleeping next to Māwai Hākuna, next to Wairere. Everyone was all mixed up like this. We ate breakfast together, we were all together. It was so much fun. At the end of it, they had a huge party and half of the people ended out on the field. I don't know how many babies come out of that year, but I bet you some of you are probably even here. Oh, was that party? Yeah, no fun. I think, you know, in Tāmaki last year, Tāmaki, boy, they made history last year, and our board member Annette was right up there with us with that ngā mihi. Me te puari katoa. You know, 70,000 people came into Auckland. It brought $22 million into the Auckland economy. That's what Matatini brought over that time. There was 1.8 million people who streamed online. 730,000 of our country watched it on telly. Matatini ki te ao, the last part of our whakatauki that our board put together. Matatini ki te ao. Haka Translate, led by our Chief Operations Officer, Wipere Mita, has managed to get that translated this coming year into 8 different languages because people are watching from around the world. They want to see kapa. They want to see kapa. You know, some of the sad things that we have in the world, the biggest haka in the Guinness Book of Records is held by the French. Yeah, held by the French. That's going to be knocked over on the 29th of September this year in Eden Park, and we will be taking that back, that thing back, because it belongs here. Tāmaki Makaurau put on a festival like no other. We now have Pute as our board chairman has been saying, and we're pushing this back into the communities. Ooh, what a building. There's a few scraps been on in there. Actually, our first Māori member of Parliament, his name was Wiremu Kātene. He was the first member and the first member of High Legislative Council. He had a son, Hiri Kātene. His son was Horihiri Patutahuna Kātene. His son was Te Koti Kātene, my grandfather. This is a place that I like doing deals with because I feel part of it's my home. Actually, he was in there with Wee Kātene was in there with Wee Parata, and apparently they were the kings of the billiard tables in there, and no one would bet with them because they kept winning all their money off them. But when we have the budget bit itself, we sat down and listened, what does the board want Our job is to operationalise our board's whakaaro. Marātou ke he tono mai ki a mātou, and we make this happen. Mana motu hake ki te kāinga, what does that mean? What does mana motu hake ki te kāinga mean for us? You know, 2000, in the year 2000, I moved to Wellington to work for our people. I've never stopped working for our people, but what I have noticed in Wellington is that when budgets come to Wellington for Māori issue, around 2/3 of that budget is used in bureaucracy, and it doesn't even make it to our people. And our board knows that. So ko te maho te pūtea, ko mau mai I te matatini ka hoatu ki ngā rohe. That's our role. To keep that portal open so we can fund our rohe to do what you need to do. The 8 KRAs that we had up there have been negotiated with government, and government has agreed. So anything in your rohe development plan that you align with those 8, because they cover nearly every aspect of our life, wānanga, kapa, ngā mea katoa, the rohe can fund our mana kuratahi nai, can fund our ngā kapa haka kura tuarua, can fund our seniors to go to Matatini, and can also look after our taikura now, because the money we're receiving is people are saying, that's fair, that's equitable. I'm actually here to say, well, thank you for the start. We're gratefully accepting. But we will be coming back with another budget bid later on. One of the things that we've decided to do is, you will notice that there was a big push at the last festival of Statistics New Zealand. The purpose we brought Statistics New Zealand, I hate saying that word, to our kapa haka at Matatini, is because on the next census, we want a question in there, how many people in your household actively participate in kapa haka? That's it. And that's going to give us our next budget. The big part in that is there's 2 areas that government fund. One on viewership and one on active participation. We've researched that. On the viewership, the top in this country is New Zealand On Air. And they get around $400 million. The second, 200, sorry. The second is Sport New Zealand. They get 100 million. The third viewership in this country is kapa haka. That's number 1. Number 2 is active participation. The top active participation in this country is Sport New Zealand. The second largest in this country is kapa haka, and we now have the facts to prove that. So, looking forward to the next few years. The board's made me permanent now, and they can't throw me out the door. So, yet look, he's looking around. So, looking forward to the challenges. And sometimes when we come out with our surveys and say, can you please participate in this? This is the information, the data that we're gathering to make these evidence-based reports to government, to be able to say, you know what, if Matatini and kapa haka wasn't here, this is how much extra you're going to be paying in health. If kapa haka wasn't here, this is how much more you'll be paying in education. We're saving you money. So it's something that's very, very important to us. I know a lot of talk around pūtea here, but it's our way that we can support you. Funding te rohe. Funding te rohe. Here it is. Funding te rohe. So our money that comes through to rohe is for rohe. Mana motu hake ki te kāinga, there's nothing better than we can do but to be able to fund rohe, because rohe know what you want. We don't know what you want in an office in Wellington. Our māngai know what you want, and they say that at the board, but our office doesn't. So how do we do that? We go through a pautaka wainga we now have a pautaka wainga which was talked about earlier. So we have a māngai, and that sits on a board. So Matatini is governed by this board of māngai from the country that are selected by our rohe. We also have pautaka wainga who work with rohe as their administrators, as they put together the planners who do the reporting and the compliance that's required for the rohe, and they work together with us. So in retrospect, this here is the most important thing that we say to our staff all the time. Rohe led, te Matatini enabled. And when I say the word enabled, e hara tēnei he kupu whakahihi mai ki a koutou. We will enable it to happen, to keep funding coming through to meet your needs. And we'll keep forward. So with your pautaka wainga, look after those pautaka wainga, they're a gem, and they bridge that gap for us.